Nation. Welcome back to another Adventure Box podcast. Today we will be talking about... Oh, wait. Before we get there, this is all brought to you by Historical Conquest. Historical Conquest, fun game. Very fun game. You don't need to know anything about history. You need to know about how to have fun. And you can learn history at the same time. How great is that? Okay, here we go. Let's get into our history lesson today. Today we will be talking about more of ancient China. That's right. We will be talking about, what will we be talking about? So we will be talking about, let's see, Chinese, let's just say, this is like the worst time in all of Chinese history. It's the most explosive, most intense, but it's also very transformational. That's right. The period at this time in the Warring State period and also the Qin Dynasty, which Qin, just so you know, is Q-I-N. Qin, not queen, Qin. The Q sounds like ch. Qin Dynasty. So the Warring State period and the Qin Dynasty. These are the two we will be talking about. Now, the Warring State period is where the warlords played chess with armies. And swords got sharper, and it was basically like a 4D strategy. It wasn't just like 3 levels of chess. It was like, here's rain, here's other things that are happening. How do you put it all together and win the game from every side? That's right, you're not just looking from one side, you're looking all the way around and upside down in every direction. That is why 4D strategy became very popular in China. Okay, now, the Qin Dynasty is where a single man, let's say, says, I've had enough of all this nonsense, and forged a one China out of blood, bricks, and absolute control. That's right. He took over all of China, got rid of all warlords, one by one. So grab your armor, get some bamboo scrolls, and maybe some tea, because things are about to get real here. Okay, let's talk about the Warring State. The Warring State is when peace was everywhere, right? No, not likely. Warring State. So this was literally warring. War was everywhere in China. Imagine a map of ancient China. I got one. I got a map. Let me see. How do I bring this up? Wait a second. Why didn't it come up? There it is. Okay. This is China. This is Africa. This is Australia. This is Europe and Russia. Now, come back to China. China. There we go. Okay. So we're in China right now. And there are warlords all over the place. And each of them had their own territories. But there was basically, having all these different territories, there was 7 main major states. There was the Qi. There was the Chu. Now it's interesting enough. Qi is the QI. Chu is CHU. So when you see it in the text, you'll see there's a difference. But I keep going. Yan, the Han, the Zhao. Now, Zhao is Z-H-A-O. Zhao. What? No Z? Z? No Z. Zhao. Sounds like J-O-W. Zhao. And then there's the Wei. W-E-I. So you'll see all these in the text. And the wild card, the one that no one really saw coming, was the Qin. But we will get to them later on. Okay, so the Warring State. It happened between 475 to about 221 BC. So before 0. And it's like a Game of Thrones meeting of like an arms race where they are selling arms, they are making friends, alliances, and then breaking them, stabbing each other in the back, just like last week. That's right, we were talking about the stabbing in the back, right? Yeah, more of that. Okay, the old Zhou Dynasty was toast. Its kings were now figureheads, which basically means no real power. The power belonged to the regional warlords, because they had armies, they had spies, they had serious cases of expansion fever. They had to expand. They did not want to be in one place, they wanted to be in all places. So this is why they created what's called total war. That's what became the normal. Now, this means, total war means no more ritualized warfare for early centuries. So, in the past, it was people lining up in the war, in the battlefield, and they come to attack. Ritual, where they would not kill as many, but they would be there for more of ritual, and size would matter. Now, size no matter. Now, it's surprise attack, siege engines, espionage, spies, setting up explosives where they weren't supposed to be, right? That's the fun of explosives. Yeah. Okay, and the scorched earth strategy. Basically, you laid on your sword and you slept on your sword. And in the morning, if your sword was not there, you were dead. Goodbye. No weapon for you. But you still had to come out to the battlefield. No weapon. You in trouble. And with it came technological breakthroughs. That's right. Technological breakthroughs. Big things. Big changes. Okay, let's talk weapons. First thing, because things got serious. They went from bronze, which was a weaker kind of metal, to iron weapons. They replaced the bronze. They were stronger, they were cheaper, and more deadly. Now, another one they came up with was the crossbow. The crossbow, great. The ancient equivalent of the sniper rifle. The crossbow, you lined up, and you shot. Much like a gun, but with an arrow cocked back, with better aim than the bow. It was powerful and easy to train with. I mean, come on. It's like you a good shot. Okay, maybe you're not the best of shots, but all you have to do is get trained in it, point, and shoot. It wasn't hoping that you would hit the person. Get those darn notifications out. Look, I got a Walmart package coming. Okay, great. Whew, don't need that. Okay. Now, the next one. Get out of this. Oh. Okay, here we go. The next one is cavalry. Cavalry, what is this? It was actually introduced from the steppes. The steppes. Now, the steppes were the mountain ranges coming over from, like, Persia. So the people from the steppes, they changed how war and battles were fought. Is when you brought in horses and they'd run in and destroy everything while on horseback. Faster, more deadly. And if you had a chariot, it would protect you until you were ready there to kill or shoot them. If you were hiding behind the armor of the chariot, you were in a good place. Your horse was also very armored because you did not want your horse to be shot out from under you. Yeah, not a good thing. If you flew over the horse because they basically fell in front of you, fell as they were running, full speed, and then trip. Yeah, you would be in a lot of pain. Okay, the next one is mass infantry. That's right, large, disciplined foot soldiers. Before they had some, but now everyone was trained, disciplined, and if you fell out of line, you dead. That's right, they would kill you. And everyone was equipped by the state, by the warlord. He would provide you with a sword. Don't lose that sword, or you in trouble. Now, you might find a sword on the battlefield. That would be a good thing if you lost your sword. So, yeah, be careful. Okay, and no one played the game better than the Qin. Now, we're going to get to them a little bit more afterwards, but let me tell you about, let's see. I got one. From their capital in the west, the Qin built a war machine. Now, this is where what we call legalism, we talked about it last week, the religion of the centralized government. It was reformed from Sheng Yang. He created a merit-based military. Merit-based military. That sounds great. Everyone can agree to that. You don't go because your dad is a powerful officer and it's all because they keep it in the family. No, no. This was about merit-based. Do you remember the movie Mulan? I actually watched that earlier this week. Great show, great show. Not all accurate. Very Disneyized. Woo! But the thing that they showed, that a lot of times they had the families would provide one soldier from the family, a male soldier, to fight for the army. Now this is after this time period. It was not about merit. It was about getting out there, every person possible, to go forward. And most families had like 2 kids. 2 kids! That means you kill one, you still have one to keep on the inheritance. You kill that other one, whoo-wee, your family's dead. Now, also in their war machine, the Qin war machine, you also had soldiers were rewarded based on kills and performance, not noble birth. Now, also, while they were moving, they were building roads just for the troop movement. You had people constructing in front of the army before it got there. So this is where they had to invent, new administrative systems and turned war machines into a bureaucratic efficiency machine. Yeah, bureaucrats, like they don't know anything about war. Actually, there was a Department of War. Wait a second. That's what a bureaucracy would be. And those people, they were most likely the generals. And this is the point where the generals don't go in front of the army. They send the army out under their commands, but they stay back where it's safe so they don't get killed. Pretty smart. For the generals, not the soldiers. So by the 3rd century BC, the Qin had the best army around. No question. They also had the best infrastructure around. No question. Roads. They wanted roads for their armies, for their transportation, for their trade. And they had a singular goal. Unlike all the other warlords, they wanted a unified China, or bury everyone else trying. That's right. There was a lot of people that wanted to take over all of China, but they wanted to take over all of China. The Qin, they wanted to unify all of China and bury everyone else that were in the way. Okay, so let's talk about the rise of Qin, Shi Huang, and the end of the warring period. So in about 264 BC, a 13-year-old boy named Ying Zheng became king of Qin. By 221 BC, he was what? He was about 38 years old. So 38 years old, he was able to conquer all rival states and declare himself Shi Huangdi, which means first emperor of China. That's right. Let's pause here. Okay, because this is the first time in Chinese history that all of the lands are unified under a single ruler. Not this person owns this land, this person owns this land, this person owns that. Even before the warlords, there were others in the China area who had their own land. And dynasties would take over, but they would only own a part of China. Under Shi Huangdi, they owned all of China. And after 250 years of non-stop war, China was finally whole. One country. And now things really got centralized. If you don't have all these different powers and you have one ruler, it becomes easy for that one ruler to put it all together and say, you all are controlled by me. And it's done. So welcome to the Qin Dynasty. Now, ruled by order and iron. Huh? That's right. The Qin Dynasty they weren't the nicest people. They ruled basically for a very short time. You have 221 to 206 BC. 15 years. Yeah, 15 years. But they're legendary. That's right. The Qin were legendary. Now, it's also because they weren't so nice that they only lasted 15 years. But there's so much about them. So let's go into some of that. Okay, first, the Shi Huangdi believed that peace only came through total control. That means everyone had to listen. Everyone had to obey. His philosophy was thanks to Shang Yang and legalism. Now what? You might ask, what is legalism? We talked about it last week. Come on, guys. Go back and read or listen to what I was telling you last week. Okay, so here, let me recap though. Here is the formula. People are selfish. Obedience must be enforced by the central government. And 3, harsh laws and strict punishment equals stability. But would you want stability if free choice was taken away? No freedom of speech, no freedom of religion, no freedom of anything, no freedom. Obedience must be enforced and harsh laws if you get out of line. So he wasn't interested in the Confucianist harmony or even Taoism, going with the flow, like the waves. Shi Huangdi said, flow, I'll build the river. So that's how he thought of things. He was going to construct his own power through legalism. So what did he do? I got a few things that he did. First, he standardized everything. Writing, one text, one language. Weights and scales and measurements. Okay, trade. You could only flow smoothly if there was one weights or one type of scales or one type of measurements. If everyone has different, it's really hard to trade with each other. So, very smart of him. The next one is road width. Wait, road width? Yeah, all roads had to be wide enough for 2 war chariots to pass side by side. One going this way, one going this way. Smart, right? That government level detail. That's what they had to do. The next thing they did, besides standardizing, is build the first version of what? What is something that everybody knows about when they know about China? You haven't figured it out? Okay, let me show you a picture. I want to do this. Instead of showing you a picture, we're going to zoom down into it. Great Wall of China. It's this thing right here. Wait a second, why can't I see it? Great Wall of China. Because some of these walls do not actually still exist. Great Wall of China. That's really sad. You can't see it from up here. Oh well, I will find another picture. But this is what it looks like. Let me blow this up. In some places, you'll be able to see it. Maybe Google Maps, no good. Okay, so let me see if there's other pictures. Here we go. But this not the Zhou Dynasty. They built the first Great Wall. More like this. Not so high, not so ornate, but they started to build, which kept everyone from the north out from coming into China. So, not a giant wall that we see today, but a series of connected walls and fortifications to stop northern raiders and invaders. Okay, the next thing they did. So 1, standardized everything. 2, Great Wall of China. 3, burned books. Buried scholars. What? Okay, yeah, that's the bad press part. Okay, he didn't want competing ideas, especially those of Confucius. So Confucius writing, all get burned. That's right. That's it. He didn't care. Now, what do we say about every generation, every group of people, every civilization? When they get a new leader, the leader does 2 things. Well, if he wants full control. First thing, changes the history. The second thing, changes the religion. Where are those 2 things written? In books. So when Hitler burned books, he did it because he wanted to destroy the history and the religion and all free thought. Burn the books, no more. He gets to start over. Okay, the next thing that the Qin did, massive construction. This included roads, canals, government buildings, and also his tomb. Yeah, you know, the terracotta army. I want to show you this one too. Okay, here we go. Terracotta warriors. They are right here. This is the Qin Shi Huangdi tomb. These are the terracotta warriors. Not real, but they were based on an army that he hoped for would be in the afterlife. And they guarded his underground palace. So you can see all different images of these terracotta army soldiers. And they build them in parts. They build the head, then they build the body, then they build the legs. It was great for them. Okay. And this, they built a facility over top of it so you can see the armies that were in here. All this was covered by wood and dirt. Underground palace. So, okay, let's talk about the legacy and the collapse of the Qin Dynasty. Remember, 15 years. That's it. That's all they lasted. Come on, show me China. There we go. Okay, so it's right there, right in the middle. Emperor Shi Huangdi. And he had his tomb right in the middle of China. The China that was there at the time. Okay, now, so if the Qin Dynasty was so efficient, why did it get collapsed in only 15 years? Because of absolute power eventually breaks down under its own weight. I don't like this view. Let's click out here. Much better. Okay, here we go. Now, let me go through some of the things that basically had it come down. Okay, so first, harsh laws led to massive resentment. Resentment, meaning they did not like you. Labor demands crushed the peasants. A lot of peasants were dying because they had so much to do. Shi Huangdi said they had to do these things or they were punished. Absolute obedience. So Shi Huangdi, he died in 210. At that point, it triggered a revolt filled with assassinations and chaos. His son took over, but the dynasty didn't last. In 206 BC, 4 years after Shi Huangdi passed away, the Qin was overthrown. So, the legacy, they were unforgettable. They were unified China. That's right, that's one of their legacies. The second, administrative systems, still used in later dynasties. And a national identity that started with a guy who basically said, let there be one law, and one language, and one empire. That's it. The Qin Dynasty was basically set a blueprint. And the Han Dynasty, really we'll talk about them on Thursday. Today, Tuesday, Thursday, the Han Dynasty basically followed them, but ran it with more compassion. And they lasted 400 years. So, okay, now let's go over what we talked about. We talked about the warring state period. All the warlords fighting against each other, trying to take over each other's lands. Now, the warring state gave us brilliant strategies, iron tools, and different philosophies like Confucianism and Taoism and legalism. But here comes the Qin, basically showed how infrastructure, law, and vision can build one nation fast, very fast, but also how fear and oppression can break it down just as fast. It's a reminder that unity doesn't just require power, it needs people who believe in the future being built. So if the people believe you, they will stick with you. So thank you for requesting with us today on the Adventure Box podcast. I'm Zach Edwards, your ancient Chinese nerd, time guide, and amateur chariot rider? I wish. Okay, I'm signing off from the battlefield in the Imperial Courts. If you enjoyed this episode, please put a review, share it with others, and we will catch you next time when we talk more of the Great Wall of China and the Han Dynasty, who bring back Confucianism and make it a thing. But they also bring in the Silk Road, and emperors start to look east and west. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep questing. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye. If you have any comments or questions, add them to the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, actually. Take care. Bye.